What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Birds of a Feather, the podcast. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports. And my guy to my right, Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West. Tell them how you feeling, Fuego.
What is good? What is going on? What's cracking, everybody? Hey, it's been a crazy day in the NFL, but we're here to talk about it. We're here to chop it up. We're glad that you guys are here with us, and we are so very thankful for each and every one of you because, like I always say, you guys are the absolute food in the water to the channels. Without you, it does not continue to survive. So if you're feeling the vibe, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe to keep our dreams alive. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about.
For sure, man. Let's get right into it. So,
Absolutely.
free agency is ablaze. Like it's so much going on. So many guys getting signed. Trades have happened. It's just been so much going on. But let's get into the obvious. Hassan Reddick, linebacker slash edge rusher, who formerly was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, then picked up by the Carolina Panthers, and now is a Philadelphia Eagle. The Philadelphia Eagles signed Hassan Reddick to a 3-year, $45 million contract worth with 30 million guaranteed, excuse me. And the deal is said to have a max value of $49.5 million. So you might as well say he signed a 3-year deal worth $49.5 million with 30 million guaranteed. Oh man, first of all, how do you feel about us bringing in Hassan Reddick? Because I made a video about it prior. I made a video about it, I'm going to say maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I made it so clear that we need to think why you should want Hassan Reddick on your team. Now, Hassan Reddick, let's talk about his pathway in the NFL. Hassan Reddick didn't really have the smoothest transition from college.
Right.
Hassan Reddick graduated. Well, didn't necessarily graduate, but went to Temple University. My bad. Went to Temple. Anyway, as a matter of fact, did he graduate? I don't know, but nonetheless, regardless, went to Temple University.
He's a hometown kid,
right?
He's from the area.
Born and raised in Camden, New Jersey. Was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in 2017, and he was with the Arizona Cardinals for 4 seasons from 2017 to 2020. And those first 3 seasons were kind of turbulent for him. He didn't really come out the gate running. Things were definitely haphazard. He wasn't really given the production of a first-round pick that you would necessarily expect, especially being drafted in the first round, 13th overall. But nonetheless, his 4th season came about, and he just came out the barn doors and just let everything rock. My man had 12.5 sacks in his breakout season at age 26. And in 2021, when he bet on himself with the Cardinals on a 1-year deal, put up 11 sacks. So the dude gets busy. Let's just make that very clear. And definitely expecting a lot of big things from him. He's like the perfect linebacker to fit into Jonathan Gannon's system because, Jonathan Gannon loves guys who are multiple. He loves linebackers that can not only drop back in coverage, but can also rush the passer, can also be effective in the run. Guys that he can just be creative with, and guys that he can actually have on the field for all 3 downs. Too often we had linebackers that we had to continue to sub guys out because guys were one-trick ponies or they weren't multiple. They really couldn't do more than one thing very well. Hassan Reddick has proven to be a legit pass rusher in this NFL at the linebacker position, the Sam linebacker position in particular. But what are your thoughts on Hassan Reddick being brought into Philly?
I mean, that I'm excited about it. I really am because this guy is still fairly young. He's only 27 years old. He's a proven winner in the NFL as far as being successful. I mean, he's got 31 sacks since coming into the league in 2017. So, and I don't think he's even been fully utilized to his maximum potential. So, like you said, he's a good fit for our system, and it's about time that we start valuing this linebacker position a little bit more. And like you said, I know he's versatile. He can put his hand in the dirt. He can go out and get after the quarterback, and he can also, he's reliable in coverage and things like that, which we desperately need more of at the linebacker position. So I'm very excited for this signing, and I think it's a pretty good deal. I think it's a pretty team-friendly deal, 3-year deal. What'd you say, $30 million? So yeah, I think he's going to be a good fit. I think he's got good veteran leadership now that he's been in the league for a few years. He knows this, he knows the league. He's been in the NFC. He knows the conference. So yeah, I'm excited about this kid. It's always nice to see, local guys be able to play for their hometown team. And I know guys like, him, Vinny Curry. It's just exciting. It's extra exciting to see these guys able to come back to their roots because that they're not going to leave anything out there on the field. They're going to give you everything they got.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing about Hassan Reddick is he's actually beginning to enter his prime now.
Yeah,
He's someone you would consider to be a late bloomer. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
But let's see who's in the chat, man. So John Jones, what's going on, big dog? How we feeling?
What's good, John?
John said, what a pickup. You're right, man. Having Hassan Reddick on his team was a huge pickup. Same thing with Anthony Allen. Anthony Allen said the same thing, for sure. Shout out to Shane Butler. How you doing, my man?
What's going on, everybody?
Anthony Allen says Derek Barnett's on the trade block. Well, actually, Derek Barnett's a free agent. So
yeah,
he's
gone.
That's a dumb bun.
He's going to be in Jacksonville, guaranteed. Dougie's going to be the only one that gives him a chance.
Absolutely. Philly, the podcast. My guy Castro, how we feeling, man?
What's up, Joe? What's good? Hey, I know you wanted Jackson, the cornerback, but I don't think we could afford him, man. I really don't.
Yeah, speaking of J.C. Jackson just got picked up by the Chargers, and he got
the
bag.
Not the bag. There's no way we could have given him that money. Not if we're trying to really spread it out and trying to make a solid team.
Yeah, if you think about it, we're kind of branching off a little bit, but the Los Angeles Chargers that defense is terrifying now. They got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Asante Samuel Jr., J.C. Jackson, Derwin James. They are terrifying. They have to have a defense to compete in that AFC West. You have to have a defense that's going to come in and wreak havoc because you got guys like Russell Wilson in your division now, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr. There's a lot of talent in the AFC West, so you got to be able to compete.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson's swallowing a little hard looking at that defense with the Chargers because they're going to be scary good. They're going to be good when you got a good defensive line and you got a good secondary. That's a scary mixture. That's going to create a lot of turnovers, things like that. So, yeah, the AFC West is going to be a very, very entertaining and competitive division to watch. It's going to be fun, definitely. What's going on, Bobby, Philly fan?
For sure.
What's good?
For sure, but you're absolutely right. Bringing in Hassan Reddick, it
want a job.
It makes you think. What's the next move for Howie Roseman? Especially as it pertains to the defense, right? Because if we decide to maintain our draft picks, who's to say we still won't go get another edge rusher or to go get a linebacker? Now, Hassan Reddick, he's not the biggest, 6'1", about 220, 230 pounds, I believe.
Right.
So he's not your prototypical edge rusher. Typically, you want your edge rushers to be in that 6'5", 6'6" range, weigh about 270 pounds. You know what I mean? On the uptick of that. But Hassan Ridgeway, like I said, he's a natural pass rusher. He has so much athleticism, and he's stronger than what he looks. On top of that, like I said, he's multiple. He's the kind of player Jonathan Gannon wants on his defense. We had too many. Yeah. We had too many run stoppers. We had no one that could drop back in coverage. No one that can actually generate pressures, and that's something that was missing on this team. Absolutely. Yeah. It begs the question. Are we going to look at guys like Devin Lloyd still, or David Ajabo, or Jermaine Johnson II out of Florida State University? Who else? N'Kobe Dean. I'm really curious to see how they approach it. But here's the thing.
We have the opportunity to do it, my guy. We do right now. Where we stand with these draft picks, in my opinion, you could never have enough pass rushers. You really can't, because you put Ajabo under the guidance of Brandon Graham, and I think he could be better than Brandon Graham. I really do. And I love Brandon Graham. I hold Brandon Graham to a very high accolade. I do. I think Jabu can be. I think he can be better. I really do. I think he can. He's got the ability.
You're right. And someone asked, John Jones in particular. He says, so my question is to both of you. Would we play 3-4 or 4-3? That's the interesting thing about Jonathan Gannon.
Right.
His base formation is 4-3.
Right.
But Jonathan Gannon, if you notice, there were so many times where we had 5 guys lined up on that defensive line. You know, he gets creative, and he tends to bend his scheme to his players. So I don't think we're going to just see a 4-3 scheme. Don't be surprised if you see someone. Don't be surprised if you see a D tackle lined up at the nose tackle position. Then you got 2 edge rushers. You got 4 linebackers on the field.
Yeah.
It all depends on what Jonathan Gannon is trying to accomplish. And like I said, it's not going to be as simple as a 4-3 or a 3-4. That four now, Hassan Reddick, he is that guy that thrives in a 3-4 situation because of the type of linebacker he is. He's a Sam linebacker. He gets pressures, he gets sacks. So it's going to be interesting how he gets used. That's the bottom line. But here's the unique thing about this thing, right?
Yeah.
Picking up Hassan Reddick tells me in so many words that the Philadelphia Eagles may not go linebacker in that first round. They may not. And who's to say they won't trade all 3 of those picks for Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson's market is heating up. And a handful of teams are being dropped out of the race. For example, the Colts are out of it because they're not going to trade him within the division. The Steelers are out of it because they signed Mitch Trubisky. Who else is out of it? There's a handful of teams. There's someone else who's out of it as well. But nonetheless, none of these teams can really compete with the Philadelphia Eagles as far as what they can offer for Deshaun Watson. So what's your thoughts on the whole Deshaun Watson trade market and how the Philadelphia Eagles should attack it, if they do attack it?
I mean, if it's my decision, if it's my take, then I'm not even. They're wanting. From last I heard, the Texans are wanting way too much. They're wanting 3 first-round picks. Mm-hmm. So we probably at least have to give up 2 of our picks this year, and probably our pick next year. I think draft capital wise, rebuilding this team through the draft, that cripples us. I really do, and I think that's a bad move. As much as that improves us at the quarterback position, because I think Deshaun Watson is a very, very talented quarterback. I'm not doubting that at all.
Astronomically better than Hurts. It's not even a comparison.
Right. And some people were misunderstanding me on Twitter when I was defending Hurts in this argument. But we have to understand too that with Deshaun Watson, not only is it going to take all of that draft capital, maybe even some players too, who knows?
It will.
But it's also going to handcuff us in the future financially, because we're going to have to give him a new contract eventually. I don't know what his contract is currently with the Texans. I don't know how much longer he is signed for, but he's only 26. So if he keeps playing at a pretty high level, which he has been, prior to last year, which obviously he didn't play due to the legal allegations and all that, but he's going to garner a big payday come eventually. And I just don't really see this team being in a position to make a move like that right now. I don't think it would be a smart. I think we would be making a very, very bad move, pushing all our chips in the middle on a guy like him right now. We just have too many holes to fill.
I definitely understand what you mean as far as having the holes to fill. By the way, his contract actually kicked in. The first year of his contract kicks in this season. So he's going to have a base salary of $35 million, and he's going to have a $40.4 million cap hit. So that takes up a big chunk of your cap space for sure.
Right.
Now, let me play devil's advocate a little bit. Let me push back a little bit.
Okay.
So I understand exactly what you're saying, right? As far as leveraging all of the picks for one guy, and we have so many holes on this team, and we have to rebuild this team. I totally understand what you mean by that, and I would tend to agree with you that this team needs definitely a resurgence of talent, right?
It's like the old saying goes, right? You never put all your eggs in one basket. I don't know if everybody's heard that saying, but you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. And to me, making that move is exactly that. But go ahead. I want to hear your counterpart to this.
And here's the thing about that basket you're talking about.
Yeah.
That basket is the most important basket on the football field, arguably the most important basket in all of sports, and that's the quarterback position. And
Very true.
It takes teams decades, years to have that position solidified for the next 10, 15, 20 years. That's the one position on the field that you can solidify for at minimum 15 years if you get it right. If you get it right, and you don't have to worry about it ever again. Whereas on other positions, they're a little bit more interchangeable. They're a little bit more flexible. There's always going to be a next talented wide receiver. There's always going to be a more talented running back and edge rusher or linebacker or safety. And you can find those guys, especially when they're working in conjunction with each other. You have guys that balance off other guys' skill sets, so on and so forth. But that quarterback position stands alone in and of itself. And you said that the Eagles are definitely going to have to sacrifice at minimum 2 of their picks this year, maybe a future pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's my retort to that. Put yourself in the shoes of the Houston Texans GM. Think about his perspective. The Houston Texans GM is not in a position to bargain with future picks. I'll tell you why. Because they've botched this organization time and time again in the past handful of years. They off DeAndre Hopkins prematurely.
For nothing, for peanuts,
for nothing, right? For nothing.
That was crazy. That's like one of the craziest trades I've seen in the last few years in the NFL.
Exactly.
That was insane.
So when you think about the GM's perspective, he's on a short leash. He's walking on thin ice. So if he's going to move Deshaun Watson, he has to move it for assets that can help him today. Future draft picks don't help the Houston Texans because that GM may not have a job next year or 2-3 years from now. He can't afford to take 120-22 first round pick, 123 first round pick, 124 first round pick. He can't afford to get 3 or 4 years worth of first round draft picks. The Philadelphia Eagles are the only organization that has the leverage, the bargaining power to be able to finagle Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans. And they have 3 first round picks. And like you said, 9 times out of 10, they're going to have to package a few players in there as well. Think about the Russell Wilson trade. That set the tone. And Russell Wilson doesn't have not near as much upside as Deshaun Watson right now. So Russell Wilson, that came with multiple first round picks, like three or four players, I believe. It got done. So when it comes to the Deshaun Watson situation, best believe Howie Roseman is kicking the tires, and best believe whether people want to accept it or not, the Philadelphia Eagles are in the best position to actually make the move from an asset and a capital perspective because they can. Think about all these other teams that are trying to vie for the Houston Texans' attention. Think about all these other teams that are trying to get Deshaun Watson to play for them, right? They don't have as many assets as us, as far from a draft pick perspective. And on top of that, a lot of people say, well, Deshaun Watson has to waive his no trade clause. He has to waive it. Right. But think about it from this perspective. The Houston Texans has been treating Deshaun Watson very well since his situation came about with the sexual assault cases. They didn't smear his name when the situation came about. They continued to pay him. He remained on the active roster.
Right.
He wasn't even formally suspended. They just told him, go home, we're gonna pay you, get your stuff sorted out. So do you think he has much leverage within that organization to really say where he's going to go? And if he decides to play hardball with where he's going to go, who's to stop the Houston Texans in the NFL from making it much harder for him to actually get on the field the following season? If he gets from under the Houston Texans' thumb, then Deshaun Watson has a better chance of playing and having a much lighter suspension. So I just look at it from the perspective of and he could lose a lot of money. Who's to stop the Houston Texans from just cutting losses? Like he can lose more. They can void that contract. He can
Yeah,
lose money.
they would have to be very careful of what they did, because then they'd be walking a very thin line with, crossing some lines with the, with the players organization and all that. So they would have to be very, very
Exactly.
careful of how they handled
Exactly.
that. But you're right. They could make it hard on him. It's possible. It definitely is. The only other teams with close to the capital that we have this year would be both the New York teams, and they are possibly in the. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't think he would want to go to either one of those teams. But like you said, if they were to possibly swoop in and make a, I don't think the Jets are overly in love with Zach Wilson at this point, and I don't think the New York Giants are far away from moving on from Daniel Jones, unless he has some kind of breakout year this year, which I highly, highly doubt, being that he's from Duke. Good quarterbacks don't come from Duke. They just don't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a
Not at
basketball
all.
school. It's not a football school.
At
You
all.
know what I'm saying?
No,
So,
you're absolutely right. You're
but
absolutely right, man.
I've been hearing that the Saints are still in the sweepstakes for Watson. I've been hearing the Panthers as well. They obviously whiffed with the quarterback move that they tried to make last year, and it didn't really pan out. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I really don't think that the Eagles are going to make a move at the quarterback position as far as this whole Deshaun Watson thing goes, but you never really know with Howie Roseman. You just never really know.
No, you're right. You don't really know, right? And regardless of how it goes down, if they make a move or they see the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles, if they're going to go get Deshaun Watson, this is what
Yeah.
I anticipate the offer being. I anticipate it being 3 first-round picks from this year's draft, a second-round pick from this year's draft, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Hurts, and maybe Miles Sanders or Isaac
Good
Samalu
Lord.
or Landon Dickerson.
Wow.
That's the kind of pool. Like, believe it or not, whether we want to accept it or not, for people who want us to trade for Deshaun Watson, right? That's the kind of payday you need to give up. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing you have to give up. And for those who don't want Deshaun Watson, which I'm like some days, like I ain't gonna lie, I'm always doing this, if I'm being honest, because it's not even about Jalen Hurts. It's about the flexibility we have with his contract and the ability to bring in some legit talent with those first round picks. But my point is, regardless, the Eagles really don't lose. If you get Deshaun Watson, you got your quarterback position locked up for the next 10, 15 years. You're good. You ain't got to worry about it. Now you can focus on your team. Or if they don't get him, now you still got your 3 first-round picks. You can do whatever you need to do, build around Jalen Hurts, and if he's the guy, you pay him the following season. Or if not, you wait to the next draft, or you wait for another quarterback to become disgruntled. It always happens at some point. So the Eagles are not even in a win-lose situation. They're in a win-win situation. Regardless, they're going to be okay. They just have to make the right moves at the right time and be definitive in their moves.
Yeah, and I could somewhat agree to that. To me, you get Watson, you're going to improve at the quarterback position. So naturally, I mean, if things go well, you would think that you're going to be better than you were previously, right? So you're probably going to make it to the second round of the playoffs, maybe even a little further. You're going to be flashy good. But I want to have a great team. I want to build a solid foundation that's going to last us for years to come. And to me, that's using each and every one of these draft picks this year and not dipping our toe into the Watson water.
I get it.
I don't like the temperature.
I get it, man. It's definitely one of those things that you want to.
It's too hot to me.
You gotta stay out of that water. You definitely want to tread lightly.
Yeah.
And you don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction move.
Right.
But shifting the conversation forward just a little bit, thinking about Jalen Hurts and his development and what he has to improve on. we have to take into consideration that we ultimately don't know how good Jalen Hurts can be. We saw flashes. We also saw moments where he just looked like he didn't know what he was doing out there. And that's a bit alarming. Yes, Jalen Hurts went 9-8. Well, he went 8-7, but the team itself went 9-8. He had an above 500 record as a starting quarterback. Managed to lead the team to the playoffs. There's a lot of respect that comes with that.
Yep.
His value goes up. Let's make it very clear. Jalen Hurts, regardless of where he goes, he's going to command a $30 to $35 million contract because of the way the market is. See, we can't see a lot of us sometimes get caught up in the whole, oh, he's not worth that. But we have to understand what's the going rate for his services, for the quarterback position in general. Regardless if you think Jalen Hurts the guy or not, he's going to command a $30 million contract at minimum because of the things he's done already. And if he continues to trend upward, there's 32 starting positions. There's 32 starting positions in his team at quarterback. He's going to get one of them if it's not here.
Yeah. The drawbacks on Jalen from last year was that he did struggle against some of the better defenses in the league, and which I can understand that's part of the argument, going forward against him. But I think he's overly worth the risk at whether he succeeds, whether he doesn't. We're going to know that very, very soon. We're going to know that within at least the next year, because he's finally going to have the same offensive coordinator, the same coach for consecutive years. He's going to have a little bit of a comfort level. He's going to, in that offense, he's going to understand it more. And I think this to me is really going to be his year 2. And I know people hate that. There's so many people that don't want to hear that. They're like, no, he's already had his year 2 rookie season. He only played 4 games. I get that. But we really have to give him his due diligence. And I think at least giving him this next year is making the right move, because we can make a decision after this next year if we want to go forward with him or not. And I think he's got a lot to prove. And I'd hate for us to look back at him on another team succeeding at a high level and be like, man, we could have had that guy. We had him right here in our hands, and we let him go because we decided to go a different direction. We've made that mistake before, and I think if we decide to do it again, it's going to be a big mistake.
I understand. So I guess that begs the question: how good do we anticipate Jalen Hurts being? How good? Will we be patient enough? What if he doesn't make the leap that we really anticipate?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. We know for a fact he's going to improve. That's not even a question. It's how much, and can he be a quarterback to lead you to a Super Bowl? That's a huge question. Also, can he be a quarterback to lead you to the Super Bowl with his play style? Not many quarterbacks with his play style make it to the big dance. Unfortunately, they don't. You have to win from the pocket at the end of the day. Sure, you break the pocket and you make something happen from a playmaker perspective. That's where your talent kicks in. But what can he do that goes outside of his natural tendencies to run? We need Jalen Hurts to take that next step astronomically as a passer. Like, his growth needs to be something we've never seen before. That's how much he needs to jump to be considered a franchise quarterback. Like, again, there's 32 starting quarterback jobs in this NFL. Every quarterback is not elite. There's only about maybe 3 or 4 of those guys, really. Right. And there's your tier 1, your tier 2, your tier 3 guys, your tier 4 guys, and that's just how it is. But everyone's getting paid at the end of the day, and everyone brings something to the table. Like Kirk Cousins, he's not the best quarterback, but Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback. Is he the quarterback that leads you to a Super Bowl? Probably not. He's not that talented, but he wins from the pocket. Kirk Cousins is better than Jalen Hurts, whether people want to accept that or not. He's a better quarterback. He's more accurate. He makes he makes less mistakes. So if we can get Jalen Hurts to even improve his passing ability to even a Kirk Cousins level with his current skill set as a runner, that'd be graceful.
Oh yeah.
Can he elevate his game to a Russell Wilson level?
Right.
Or Deshaun Watson level?
Then you're entering Russell Wilson area at that point. Because if you can combine the two, then you become deadly. If you're deadly from the pocket and you can kill him with your feet or scramble and make throws down the field. Yeah, that's really hard to defend against. We've seen it time and time again. So that's a good question. We just don't know at this point. We don't know what we don't know what his ceiling can be. I just don't think we can fairly grade that at this point. I know we have to have patience, and I know people are definitely, especially in fan bases and things like that, the patience run thin at times, and I get that. But I just this is one of those times where I think you got to let the seed grow, if you know what I mean. You got to let it sprout up. You got to let it blossom, and you got to let it. You have to be patient and let this thing really take its time.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Let's get to some of these. Let's get to some of these chats. So
thank you everybody in the comments too. I've been seeing it. It's been going crazy. Appreciate you guys.
For sure. Random Anton says we tripping if we giving up all that for anyone. Hey, I totally understand what you mean, especially for one position, one guy. Definitely get it. But that quarterback position, if you solve it, it's like the quarterback position is like if your football team was like a toy store, the quarterback position is the Rubik's Cube. It's the hardest thing to figure out. It's the least straightforward position to figure out. But if you figure it out, you ain't never got to touch it ever again.
Yeah, we just don't know if Sirianni's algorithm would mesh well with Watson. We would hope that it would. You would think it probably would, but you just never really know. You never really know if it's gonna, if it's gonna be a smooth transition, or if it would be, kind of trying to fit a square into a round hole type of thing.
Right. Brandon Hart says, yeah, they're not giving him a real second year. They only sticking with him because Carson Wentz didn't want to stay here and nobody else wants to come here if they stick with him.
Speaking Watson, of Carson, we haven't even
the best version of Hurts we could hope for.
Yeah, and speaking of Carson Wentz, we haven't even spoken to him since he became a Washington Commander.
Right, you're absolutely right. Sorry about last week, you guys. We had some scheduling conflicts, and we really appreciate y'all for being here this week. Make sure I hit that like button too. Once again, we are live on 2 channels. We are live on the Nest Out West, and we're also live on Chalk It Up Sports. So make sure you guys smash that like button on both channels if and when you can, and also just continue to support us. Continue to get these watch hours up for my guy Philly Foothills, and you guys are truly appreciated. But man, Carson Wentz is back in the NFC East. Who would have thought? You see how God works? How God works?
In mysterious ways sometimes.
In mysterious ways. Just when you thought you got away from them dirty birds.
Right.
You gotta see us twice a year now, baby. So buckle your chin strap.
Because there's gonna be a lot of that. That's right.
Yo. Man, that is such an interesting situation. I've been hearing rumors, I've been trying to read between the lines. What if the Washington football team, they picked up Carson? Because remember, they tried to go after Deshaun Watson and Russell. They fell out of the Russell Wilson situation, and they ended up signing Carson right after that. He was a contingency plan. But the Deshaun Watson situation, what if they're thinking about packaging Carson Wentz, their first-round pick, and Chase Young, some other assets to try to make a move for Deshaun Watson?
That would be a smarter move than they've probably made in a long time. But I don't know. They would probably have to give up their probably next 3 year draft picks. And I know you said that their GM ain't looking for that, so they may not have a deal that Houston would even, if they shot him down once. I don't know. Maybe they just, like you said, maybe they were looking for them to pick up another quarterback, and then they would make the trade. But I mean, crazier things have happened, but I doubt it. I do. I think they're going to get behind Wentz and in sync with that ship. Commander Wentz reporting for duty.
Commander Wentz, Commander Carson.
Yep.
Easy Money says Hurts is 0-7 against winning teams. Hurts was the worst passer on throws over 20-plus yards in 2021. Major deficiencies passing in the passing league. You bring up valid points.
And we got Eagles fans. We got Eagles content creators saying that Carson's going to come into Philly next year and win. Come on now. Come on. Have a little more faith in your team. I don't like hearing that at all. To me, that's just hate. And these are the Hurts haters out there that are saying these things.
I feel you, man. But I think this is in comparison to Watson, right? Hurts being 0-7 against winning teams. I think what Easy Money is trying to say is, why are we marrying ourselves to Hurts when he hasn't really shown us what we really need to win from a passing perspective? Let's think about it. We altered the entire direction of our team from an offensive perspective because he lacked certain qualities as a passer. This isn't saying he isn't gritty. He doesn't have the toughness, the mental fortitude to fight through anything. This isn't saying that he's not talented. This isn't saying that he can't be productive. You're going to get wins with Jalen Hurts because of the way he plays the game. But can he win you the big game? Can he make the throw when it matters most? Can Jalen Hurts win in the moments when he has to pass 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times on a 15-play drive? Can Jalen Hurts do that right now? Yeah. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, the Giants had a pretty good secondary last year, and I remember him making a couple of pretty damn good throws to Jalen Reagor, and he dropped both of them. So, I mean, that's a small example right there of him making some pretty big throws. That's against a division rival, and both of those throws were right at the end of the game. Those were for the money, and his receiver just let him down on both times. So, I mean, he has struggled at times. Yes, he has flourished at times. So, to me, I just think that he is the risk over the reward. I mean, I think the reward definitely outweighs the risk with Jalen Hurts going forward. And I think making a move for Deshaun Watson, just basically giving everything away that we have right now, I just don't think that's a good move.
Understood. Random Anton says you can find those answers out in a year rather than give up the farm this year for a chance at being marginally better. He's referring to finding out how good Hurts can be. You can find those, and you can if we're patient, you can find out this year. Because in my humble opinion, if we don't go to if let's just say we don't get Deshaun Watson, right? This is the year, in my humble opinion, to find out if Jalen Hurts can be the guy. If he's the same player this year, making the same mistakes as far as reading defenses and so on and so forth, not winning from the pocket, then eventually you have to make a move to get a better quarterback. But ultimately, Random Anton is right from that perspective. You can find out the answers to those questions this year if he can take your team over the hump, if he can win a playoff game, right? If he can improve from what he did this past season in his decision making and his anticipation with the deep ball.
Yeah, and especially in some of those majorly those majorly important areas, like you said, winning from the pocket, being able to read the field, see the field, read the defenses, all that kind of stuff that upper echelon quarterbacks do at a high level in the NFL. We have to see the progression in that this next year, definitely. Or it's the conversation definitely has to be had, and we're probably going to have to go in another direction. But
absolutely.
But see the other side of the fence, though. Let's say he takes off in second year of this offense with this coaching staff, with some of these same players that he had around him last year, and maybe some new pieces as well, depending on what we do, in free agency. Allen Robinson's still available. Maybe we bring him to Philly. I've heard the Chiefs are highly pursuing him right now, so we'll see how that kind of pans out. I had also heard the Lions were going to go all in on him as well, but I mean, it's just if Hurts does explode, we still don't have to. I mean, he's still going to be under rookie contract for another couple years at least until we have to give him, a big contract. Like you said, probably at least around 30 million or something like that. But if we're able to succeed while we're still, paying him very, very little compared to other quarterbacks in the league, we can make something truly, truly amazing very quickly, in my opinion.
Right. Benny Boom says, until Hurts learns how to read defenses, he'll never take us to where we want to be. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's true. Very true.
You think about that Bucks game in the divisional round. He wasn't seeing he wasn't seeing anything for some reason. I don't understand. He just didn't seem prepared. He didn't seem comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many deficiencies on that team all the way around, but just focusing on him, he just didn't look like he knew. He didn't look like he belonged out there, actually. I'll be honest.
Yeah. And I've been asking, when I think we've talked about this before, I'm really starting to wonder if maybe Brian Johnson, the quarterback's coach, is maybe taking him as far as he can take him. Maybe that's part of the issue too. I don't know. I'm not that, I'm not inside their meetings. I don't know how hard they're going at it as far as film study and things like that. Because being as that Hurts is on the shelf right now, healing from the ankle surgery, that's what he needs to be doing full time, is studying film, knowing, perfecting himself at reading defenses, pre and post snap, things like that. He's got to get in that mind psyche of a true NFL quarterback. And I'm just hoping that Brian Johnson is going to get him, to where he needs to go, and is really is pushing him to his full potential.
You're right. It's, sometimes you outgrow certain teachers, certain masters, certain
relationships,
right? Certain relationships.
Absolutely.
And some people are meant to be in your life for a certain season, and then it's time for you to transition and elevate who you're around, right?
100.
So you bring up a good point. Shout out to Jason Nelson with the kind words. Jason Nelson says, just wanting to give props where props is due. You two are some of the most knowledgeable and heads up insight on the birds out there. Keep up the good work. Jason, that means a lot, man. We work really hard. So thank you so much for those kind words. It definitely means a lot, my man. Stay tuned, stay locked in. The content only gets better, only gets more dynamic. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to both, not only myself at Chalk It Up Sports, but also at my man, the Nest Out West with Foothills. Make sure you go subscribe to both channels and like both channels, and just keep on coming back, man. We appreciate people like you.
100%.
For sure. The General Eagles said Hurts is still young. He can improve over time. It's not like he's in his 30s. I understand that. He's only, 24, 25, right? Like, yeah, not even. So
very young.
Very young.
Yeah.
Very young. And he took a team to the playoffs in the first year starting 9-8. See, let's be honest. If this Deshaun Watson situation wasn't relevant, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would be focused more so on how this kid would develop. We'll be focusing more on building around him. But the fact that the quarterback position is always being evaluated every single year because of there being situations where certain people want to leave and go to new situations and so on and so forth, that changes things. The story has changed, the narrative has changed, and we have to consider the fact that if these GMs, yes, they're all liars. Yes, they're all liars. They're businessmen in suits. They all lie. But they're always evaluating these teams and where can they improve. And the quarterback position is not exempt. We tend to fall in love with players. And there's nothing wrong with being a supporter of a guy. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm with you. I got Jalen Hurts' jersey right here. Y'all see how I'm rocking, just so y'all know, where I stand. But, I'm all about winning Super Bowls. I'm all about competing at the highest level. And do I think Jalen Hurts can compete with guys like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow right now? I don't think so. Do I think he has potential? Maybe. But a guy like Deshaun Watson, can he compete with guys like Patrick Mahomes and the Lamar Jacksons of the world, and the Joe Burrows and the Justin Herberts and the Josh Allens? Can he compete with those guys from a talent perspective? Yeah. I seen Deshaun Watson get kicked in the face and complete and throw a touchdown pass. I don't know how, or a huge fourth down pass, like for 20, 30 yards. Like, I seen Deshaun Watson make some plays. So it's we just have to weigh our options, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's not up to us. We're just voyeurs in this thing, and we're gonna have to just watch close and just see what Howie Roseman does. As we know, Howie Roseman, we got to be realistic, and Howie Roseman is always evaluating that quarterback position.
Yeah, and I too, believe me, I bleed green just as much as any Eagles fan out there. Even being from the West Coast my whole life, I do. I bleed green. I love this team. I want more Super Bowls, just as much as anybody else. I do. But the fact of the matter is that these people who want to push all in on Deshaun Watson, they're looking at these previous teams to do that in Tampa Bay and in the Rams, these past Super Bowl winners, right? Who pushed all in on a quarterback, and then they made their runs. But they have to realize that for the most part, those quarterbacks went into the teams that were primed and ready to make a Super Bowl run. The quarterback position was pretty much damn near the only thing that they were missing. And we are not in that same boat right now. We are, in my opinion, we are pretty far from it. We barely scraped in the playoffs last year, and we got absolutely embarrassed by a team that got blown out the next week. So, yeah, they did make a good comeback at the end, but really, I mean, the Rams pretty much let them back in that game. But I mean, Tampa Bay made us look pretty pedestrian in the playoffs last year, and all I got to say about Tampa Bay is, damn you, Tom Brady. Damn you for playing with our emotions like this. It's not even fair.
It's wild, man. It's wild that he made a comeback, and let's be honest. Are we really surprised?
He's such an attention hog. There's another H word I want to use, but I'll keep it kid friendly, so I'll say hog. He's absolutely is. He can't have the camera or social media a buzzing without him for too long, because he just has to. He's like one of those kids that always has to be in the center of attention. He really is.
Yeah. Random Anton says
he's got nothing to prove.
He says the two sides of the fan base simply disagree on fundamental philosophies of how to build a football team. No one's willing to give up their opinion. Just have to agree to disagree. You're absolutely right. That's what it comes down to. What's your ultimate philosophy? What's your ultimate philosophy when it comes to building your football team? Do you believe in building a roster? Do you believe in building a roster before you solidify that quarterback position? Or do you believe in finding your quarterback and then letting the chips fall where they may, and allowing your quarterback to quarterback and carry your team, if need be? There's so many nuanced ways to build your team. There's different philosophies, and I just know that quarterback position is one of the hardest positions to fill with someone you trust and someone that can get the job done. So, it's like I said, there are days where I'm like, let's keep Jalen Hurts and let's get these draft picks. But then there are certain days where I'm like, you know what, man? If we get Deshaun Watson, we can compete with anybody. Because at the end of the day, we're not playing. It's not quarterback versus quarterback. It's quarterback versus the other team's defense. So,
but the problem with that, Tone, is Deshaun Watson doesn't play defense, and I didn't see nearly enough out of Jonathan Gannon to make me think that he's going to be able to keep us competitive with the whole. I mean, we need safety, we need corner, we still need linebacker, we probably still need another edge rusher and probably an interior defensive lineman as well. And that's just on the defensive side of the ball. And like I said, Deshaun Watson doesn't play defense. So, he can only take us so far. And I know he plays the most important position, like you said earlier, in all of sports. I mean, the ball is in his hand every play, damn near when we have the football on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't know. To me, I'm not even a believer in Jonathan Gannon at this point. So he's got a lot to prove to me this next coming season. I don't know about you, but it would be one thing if we already had like a top 5 defense in house. I'd be like, yeah, let's go get Watson. Let's go. Let's make a run. But we don't. And we're far from having a top 5 defense. We are very far from it. And we may not even have the right guy to lead to put these guys in the right position to fully succeed. I just don't know if we do.
Yeah. Gio from the 215 says something very interesting.
Yo!
He says, "You seen the Chargers formula? They're building a whole team while Justin Herbert is playing solid, and he's on a cheap rookie well, I wouldn't say cheap, but he's on a rookie contract, and they just got Mac and JC. Eagles can do the same." Here's the one flaw in your thinking, Gio. Are you saying Jalen Hurts is as good as Justin Herbert? Because he's not. He's not.
No, I don't
I
think he's
understand.
saying that. I think
No,
he's saying,
no. I know what he's saying.
yeah,
But what I'm saying is the flaw in what he's saying is that Jalen Hurts is not as good as Justin Herbert to the point where you feel comfortable enough making all those moves and allowing a quarterback position to stay the way it is. We've seen Justin Herbert go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes
right.
to the point where it went in overtime and he didn't even touch the ball because Mahomes did what Mahomes does. You know what I mean? So we're always going to split hairs on this. We're always going to be on different sides of the fence in this. This is such an interesting conversation. I love having it with people because you really get a sense for how people approach the game of football, how they approach building teams. And I don't think anyone is saying anything necessarily wrong. I think people just have their own philosophy, have their own mantra, and how they want to build this team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I know Gio, he's of that mindset that, he wants to build around Hurts, try to utilize this rookie contract to its full ability. And that is being able to, spread the money out and really make this a solid team from top to bottom. Instead of going and paying a guy like Deshaun Watson, taking on that contract and really, really, hindering us financially going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, I think I mean, anybody who knows sports knows that Justin Herbert's far and away above Jalen Hurts at this point, especially as far as, being able to decipher defenses pre and post snap and seeing the field, just and even arm strength wise, he's got a better arm than Hurts does as well. So, but arm strength is something that, with the right mechanics, with some strengthening, things like that can improve. So, I think we have to be patient with this kid. I do.
Yeah, I feel you. Let's shift gears though. We have about another 7-10 minutes before we get out of here. Let's talk about Fletcher Cox because Fletcher Cox is on the trade block, and there are teams definitely interested in his services. What are your thoughts on moving on from Fletcher Cox?
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting, topic of conversation right now. And before I dive into that, just quick congratulations to Jason Kelsey for getting his 1-year contract and coming back and being our center for another year. And we're very excited about that.
Absolutely.
So, I heard he's going to be singing the national anthem at the 76ers game tonight.
Yeah. I think he did it already. If I'm
did they already start?
Yeah,
because it's 8 o'clock there now. Yeah, so that's awesome. I'll have to catch that. But yeah, I mean, with Fletcher Cox, I've been very adamant about this. He's either going to have to take a pay cut to remain an Eagle, or we're going to have to definitely see about trading him and getting, the assets that we can get for him right now. Because, he had a somewhat productive year last year. Obviously, teams are still interested in his services. So I think we have to, I think we may be smart to strike while the iron's hot in this scenario, especially if we plan on using these 3 first-round draft picks. Because I think if we go after a guy, and shout out to my guy, AK Eagles, he's been on this guy since the beginning, Jordan Davis. If we get a defensive tackle like a Jordan Davis in the draft by using one of our first-round picks, then I think it'll make it that much easier to move on from a Fletcher Cox. Being that we already have Cox's replacement in-house in Javon Hargrave. So we have that veteran, that guy with experience. the guy with production, and who really is closer to demanding that high level of pay. And Cox just isn't at this point. His production has dropped off the last few years. He's
Absolutely.
getting older, so I think if we can get a second or even a third round pick for Fletcher Cox, I think we got to do it right now. I think it's probably time, unless, like I said, unless he's willing to take a pretty significant pay cut and remain with the team. But I just don't know, especially if there's other teams that are garnering, are looking to pay him. I think he's probably willing to move on from us.
Right.
And shout out to Joseph Hudson. Thank you for the $5 donation, sir. We appreciate that.
For sure, man. Shout out to Joseph Hudson, man. Really appreciate that guy. He says Eagles have too many holes to fill to throw away all this draft capital for one player. Minnesota never got over the Herschel Walker deal. Now, that's a running back you're talking about.
That is.
A running back can only help your team, but so much. I'm not saying that you're wrong in terms of leveraging everything for one guy.
Right.
But you're comparing a running back to a quarterback. So it's kind of like, if you can get that quarterback and you don't have to worry about that position for the next. See, running backs have a shelf life. So leveraging your whole future for a running back is asinine, especially in today's NFL.
Right.
But from a quarterback perspective, and if you could find that guy, and he's that guy, you're willing to go through any and everything as long as you have that guy. Like, think about teams like the freaking the Colts from the mid early 2000s when they found Peyton Manning. They knew they had the guy. They just had to make sure they put the pieces around him to make sure it works. They had to make sure they involved him in personnel decisions, so he had the guys he knew that he can succeed with. So
I think what Joseph's trying to say, though, is I'm going to give you a comparison. So Jalen Hurts is like, what kind of car? What do I want to say? Like, he's like a Mustang. Okay, let's say a Mustang, but he's got nice wheels. He's got the rims, right? Putting Deshaun Watson on this team is like having a Ferrari with no wheels. You see what I'm saying? It looks beautiful, but it ain't going to get you anywhere, because the fact of the matter is that we would have to, like you said earlier, the type of deal that we would have to give them. So not only we would have to give them so much draft capital, but we would have to give them players as well, like a Miles Sanders. I'll be honest, I don't mind giving them Miles Sanders at all. And some people wouldn't. They really wouldn't. But you got to figure out how you're gonna, who's going to be your starting running back going forward at that point. So you know what I'm saying? You're not only do we already have holes on this football team right now, but then you're creating more holes that you have to fill. So it's kind of like you're digging the hole even deeper. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. I feel you on that. And I definitely don't really have too strong of an opinion. You don't really have too much of a strong opinion either way. I just want this team to be in the best possible position to succeed.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about the players. It's about the team. It's about the logo. And whoever, whatever, whenever, wherever puts us in the best position to win, that's the direction I'm going in. It's just flat out for me. That's just flat out what it is. So shout out to Joseph Hudson with the $5 super chat. Shout out to Neely Goldmine with the super sticker. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Super grateful for that. Appreciate you so much. Super grateful.
Thank you.
Super grateful to you guys. But let's begin to close it out, my man. Again, shout out to Neely Goldmine with the $4.99 super chat. It really helps, man. You're a lot of love is felt on this side. Best believe that. We got 24 people in this live stream going hard, man. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you smash that like button on the way in and smash that like button on the way out if you guys are jumping around on other live streams. I know you guys have so many other options, and we're just grateful that you're here chopping it up with us. So let's call it spade a spade and understand that gratitude is everything. But
absolutely.
Foothills, my man, any final thoughts on the way this offseason has been progressing so far? There have been a lot of contracts given out. Christian Kirk got a huge contract. J.C. Jackson got a huge contract from the Chargers. Who else? Kirk Cousins just got an extension. Who else, man? So much money's being thrown around. Let's just call it what it is. So, what are your overall thoughts? What are your overall thoughts on just the off season as it's been going right now, and what do you anticipate to happen with the Philadelphia Eagles going forward?
I mean, I think that Christian Kirk got highly overpaid. You know, I haven't seen the production from him. I don't understand how he really garners that type of a pay scale for his play. But I mean, it is what it is. I guess at this point, I'm just glad that it's not my team that overpaid for his services because I mean, it's going to be interesting because I don't know if you've heard, but you know, guys like Adams, the wide receiver in Green Bay, you know, he's not willing to play under the tag, so they're going to have to figure out some way to get him a contract.
That's a fact. And Christian Kirk just reset the market. All these other wide receivers looking at Christian Kirk contract like
exactly.
You know,
if
Christian Kirk got that,
exactly.
What you think Devontae Adams might get $30 million? Like, okay, who's the highest paid wide receiver? DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins right now is playing on. I think. Let me see. So, if I'm not mistaken, I know for a fact DeAndre Hopkins is the highest paid.
Yeah,
highest paid wide receiver. But,
like you said, they're probably planning on giving him a big contract because they've been cleaning house. They've been cutting players and definitely clearing up some cap space to, you know, splurge on a guy like, you know, Devontae Adams.
That's a fact. Matter of fact, real quick, because I want to know how much he gets paid.
But yeah, I mean,
watching.
I've heard possibly Von Miller's going back to Denver. I've heard that Bobby Wagner is being recruited by Russell Wilson as well. So they may be trying to definitely boost that defense back up. I mean, it was already pretty good. Definitely, they kind of have their ups and downs last year, but they're a pretty solid unit, I thought, for the most part. But I mean, it's gonna be exciting these next couple of days because the tampering period has already started as of today. You know, like we saw that we've it's pretty much been confirmed that Hassan Reddick is already got a 3-year deal from the Eagles, even though it can't be officially done until Wednesday once the league year starts. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a possibility that we bring in maybe a wide receiver and a running back, a corner as well in free agency, possibility on the cheaper side, especially if if Howie can make it work with the numbers wise. I'm not exactly super sure about where we stand cap space wise now. I mean, I know Kelsey obviously is going to count towards that cap this next year with the $14 million contract. So, you know, I think we're still going to have some money to spend, but we're not going to have a ton. So it's going to be interesting to see how we kind of especially if we stay where we're at with these draft picks, it's going to be the free agency, is definitely going to me, in my opinion, it's going to be important, probably a little more important than if we were to make a move and trade these draft picks away. But, we'll see. I'm excited, especially with the signing of Hassan Reddick. Like I said earlier, it's always cool to see local guys come back and play for us, for our Eagles. And yeah, baby, I mean, year 2 of Sirianni, year 2 with Hurts, with some comfortability. Like I said, with the offensive system, the coordinator, these players, I'm very, very, what's the word I want to use? I'm probably overly optimistic about what this team could do in 2022. I'm trying not to be try to get too high because I know it's always hurts when you have to come down a little bit. But yeah, until he is my quarterback no more, I am behind Jalen Hurts 100%. Let's go, baby. Thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it. I know my guy here at Tone DeShields does as well.
Definitely.
Thank you for locking in. Like he said earlier, make sure you hit the thumbs up on both channels because we are live. We are double live streaming today. This has been another great Birds of a Feather, the podcast live stream. And you know what? I know this fan base is a little bit divided, but just always remember that we fly until we die. We're Eagles fans for life. Stay mean, stay green. Thanks for viewing us on your screen. But most importantly, like I always say, keep it fuego. Peace and love, y'all.
Yes, sir, for sure. And I always appreciate my guy, Foothills, for doing this podcast with me, man. Guys, one of the humblest guys out here doing this, in this kind of content game, man. It's always a pleasure meeting like-minded individuals. Always a pleasure meeting, dope people. And then, the content is nothing about you guys. You guys are truly a part of this. You guys make the show. You guys, agree with us. You disagree with us. You guys support us. Maybe some of you guys hate us. You never know, right? But regardless, we appreciate all the energy, right? The energy is just electric, and you guys truly are amazing. You guys were locked in on Birds of a Feather, the podcast. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got charges to the game. I was joined by my man, Foothills from the Nest Out West. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. And we out here, you dig?